Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Brandon, and with me, I have my very special guests. I have Weezer, as usual.
Hello.
And making his grand return to the podcast after the Father's Day episode is my dad.
What's up, Beef Nation?
Oh, Jesus Christ. So you listened to that one today?
No, actually, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Okay.
I'm still behind one or two.
Yeah, Zach.
I was
gonna say, Zach said that in the last one, and it just fucking rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh, did he? I had no idea.
Well,
I just said it.
Yeah, we used that as the cold open for the last one.
Sounds like a Netflix original series.
Beef Nation. It really does.
Beef Nation.
Sounds like a documentary on like how horrible slaughterhouses are or some shit.
Right?
Well, that's a good idea. We should tell Netflix about that.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's sell it.
Food Inc. too.
Pretty much. But, yeah, so today we're just hanging out, having a good time. As you can see, Zach is not here because, you know, somebody has to have a job and work and things. Can't work in the morning like normal people do. But yeah,
And that 9 to 5 grind.
Hell yeah. But yeah, so we decided to call in the assist from Dad and do the music episode that I think we mentioned it in the Father's Day episode when he said he wanted to come back for a music episode, since that is his forte. We figured it's funny, see, it says forte. That's a music joke for all you cool music people out there.
Is this gonna be like you're gonna make bad music jokes like Weaver made bad dad jokes the last time I was on?
Maybe?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, we'll see how it pans out. You know, you never know. But yeah, so we figured we'd just talk, because I mean, we've talked about music before, but we've never really had we've never said okay, this is an episode where we talk about what we like and shit like that. It's always just kind of come up casually, so we figured we'd actually sit down and dedicate an episode to it, and yeah, who better to have than someone in a band himself as our guest?
I wouldn't go that far. We're just a cover band, but thanks, I guess.
Well, hey, you know what? Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hobby. It's fun. We're not out to be rock stars, but let's just have a good time.
Hey, I mean, you never know. Alan Rickman didn't start acting till he was in his 40s, so there's always time.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Hope for me yet.
Exactly. But yeah, so I guess we'll kick things off. How was everybody's week? How's things going? Not all at once,
I was waiting for Zach to go. I didn't want to cut him off.
Well,
let's hear it.
Today,
let's hear the line.
There's so much build-up now. I can't. I feel pressured. Well, this week was a pretty mediocre week in regards to personal stuff, but overall, I would say it was a pretty smooth week. I guess you could say I did some epic stuff. I was just telling Brandon before the show started, I bought a rice cooker, so I now have access to unlimited supplies of rice at the convenience. So I'm going to be eating a lot of rice over the next few days.
You had to buy a rice cooker because boiling it in regular water with a pot was too much. Is that why you need the rice cooker? Or
it's so convenient. It's just a little small $20 rice cooker, and now I have the ability to have endless rice. So I went to the Oriental Market, bought a big bag of rice and a rice cooker and some ramen. So I am basically ready for all things Chinese and Japanese.
Damn.
And that's like what I am now. Like before, like in college I would impulse buy video games, but now I just impulse buy rice cookers and
Asian food.
Yeah, it's character development.
I guess so. I don't know. I feel old now, but I'd rather buy a rice cooker. I get excitement out of buying weird ramen and that kind of stuff.
Did you go to the one on what's that, the Strip District?
No, we just went to the one on McKnight.
Oh, if you get a chance, go to the one in the Strip District. It's amazing. You walk in there and people look at you funny like, why are you here, Guilo? But no, there's a lot of weird stuff there.
I did see a durian that they had at this one. I almost wanted to buy it, but I bought some kimchi instead.
Ew.
No, I mean I tried it. Like I had kimchi flavored stuff, but like I never actually had kimchi. And I mean I'm not a fan of the texture of cabbage, but the taste was alright. It had a nice tang to it, nice spicy tang.
Well, hey, you know what? It's good that you're broadening your horizons. You know,
to
exposing
try new
yourself to
things.
different foods.
Oh yeah.
Lord knows I'd never do that.
I don't know. Didn't you get that? Didn't you order crazy food one time, or you had
Christ,
the
that
option
fucking from the Cajun House. Yeah, no, that was a mistake.
What did you end up getting?
So there's a place by me called the Cajun House, and it's, you know, a Cajun restaurant. So I was looking for something to eat one night and looking on Uber Eats, and I didn't feel like getting, like, you know, the same old, you know, McDonald's or Five Guys, you know, or Subs or whatever. And so I was looking at, like, you know, the Indian food and the Asian food in the area, and then I found the Cajun House. I was like, oh, okay, this sounds neat. So I got the it was a fried shrimp po' boy and catfish nuggets. It tasted good, and then it wreaked havoc on my stomach for the next, like, 2 days. So that was a big mistake.
Was it worth it?
No, honestly.
Are you starting to see the pattern here? Because the last time I remember you had shrimp at Bubba Gump, you were sick.
Yeah, it
Are you
might
starting to
just be
see the
shrimp.
pattern yet? So
Yeah,
it's
a
not
little bit.
the actual place. I think you have some kind of aversion to shrimp.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it was. I'm not trying to blame the place, be like, oh, don't ever eat there. But I just, like, it just made me sick. Like, I don't know what happened, but yeah, it might just be the shrimp. Yeah,
I don't know if
it
I
was
could live in a
good.
world without shrimp.
Right?
It was. I mean, the food was good, but yeah, just those next couple days, man, that was hell.
A couple days, damn.
Well, yeah, because like it was. I mean, it was bad because like it didn't really hit me until the next day. And then it was just like nonstop for a solid like 24-hour period at least.
That really doesn't happen to me. I don't usually have a lot of issues with like the meme of food coming back to bite me out the other end, but I do get a lot of heartburn nowadays, and I'm not a fan of that one. But yeah, I don't really have the
'Cause you're
digestive
getting
distress. I guess so, maybe. Buying rice cookers, getting heartburn. Is this loss?
My
Oh man. Well, hey, you know
All
what?
the vaping I've been doing, that could be it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Stop.
Yeah, I just ordered a new supply of juice from Broke Dick, so I'm gonna get some Broke Dick juice pretty soon.
Okay, now I'm starting to understand when
affordable.
Zach says he hates you. So I'm starting to get
let
it.
that one go.
It's affordable.
And stupid.
Oh, I'm sure it's affordable. I'm sure it's affordable, but just the name, Broke Dick Juice. Come on, seriously.
It's affordable and dumb.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do when times are tough.
Yeah, wait, aren't you like legally not allowed to vape that juice? Isn't that only for Troy?
Oh, I guess so. That might be it. Maybe I have to break my dick before the shipment can complete.
Yeah, they come to your house and that's what happens.
The FedEx guy's just like, I'm sorry about this. You have to do this.
It's in my contract. I'm sorry, man.
Get free shipping next time, though.
You get a $5 gift certificate.
You know what? I might take that for $5 off. That might be worth it.
Hell yeah, dude. All right. You know, good to
Anyway.
hear that Weezer is broadening his cultural horizons. So, Dad, how
I'm
was your
enriching
week?
my culture.
Yeah, just working, getting ready to go to Louder Than Life if it's not canceled.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's about it. Just getting ready to start the week. I only got 3 days this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today we're going to either show, which would be
Nice.
let's see. Friday went to see MC50, which is the 50-year reunion tour of MC5.
Mhm.
Yeah, like Wayne Kramer is like 70 some years old, and I'm watching this guy on stage. And I'm thinking, man, I hope I have that much energy when I'm 70. I'm like, wait a minute, I wish I had that much energy right now. Like this guy's flying around the stage. Like he had like an all-star band. The only person I didn't know was the lead singer. Rhythm guitar player was Kim Thale from Soundgarden. The bass player was Bob Gould from Faith No More. The drummer, his name escapes me, but he was the drummer for Fugazi.
Oh, nice.
And then the guy singing, he was the only one I didn't know. I didn't recognize him, but his name was Mark Durant, I think it is. But they were just really good. They put on a hell of a show. It was really good. up until the encore where they came out and played a song, and then he started doing this, you got to get out there and vote thing. And I went with my buddy Jeff, and I just looked at Jeff. I'm like, uh-oh. And he's like, yeah, there's a criminal as the president now. And I just looked at Jeff. I'm like, well, I'm ready to go. He's like, yeah, me too. So we left like in the encore. I'm like, dude, I'm here to hear your music, not your political, opinion. I don't really care. Just shut up and play your guitar.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. That just really bothers me. But I mean, other than that, just been working. Next coming week, hoping we don't get flooded out or anything to go.
Oh yeah. You guys had some big rain.
Big rain.
Actually, I mean,
yeah, I guess there is a festival that was going on this weekend that they actually canceled the second day of it today because of all the rain. The park is just so muddy, and the state or the city of Louisville determined that it's not a safe place to be.
Oh, wow.
And that's the same place where Louder Than Life's supposed to be next week.
Mm.
So everybody's hoping and praying that it's going to be cleaned up and hopefully not muddy and dried up and everything, so they can show on. So
yeah,
they actually canceled. I guess they were saying that it's like the most that it's rained in years. Odd rainfall, more than what they're used to. So
damn.
Getting that big hurricane stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's a lot of residual from a hurricane.
Well, damn. I mean, hopefully hopefully the other one doesn't get rained out. That would kind of suck.
Yeah, I'd probably be pretty bummed out because I don't have to find to do things in news. Which I have no idea what's down there. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find something.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
How was your week, son?
Just fucking being alive. Yeah, I mean, just getting into the swing of things with school and work and, all that fun stuff.
Brandon's still in school.
Ha!
Nerd.
Ooh, shut up. Yeah, I fucking been wanting to play Dragon Quest, but I just haven't had time. And every time I sit down and, I do have time, I just end up getting distracted by something else and not doing it. And I'm like, I want to play my fucking game, but I just
Gotta
can't.
love when life gets in the way.
I know. It sucks. I hate being an adult.
I want to play my video games and eat my Lucky Charms.
Exactly. But, yeah, I don't know. Just, figuring out fun financial aid stuff with school and doing my homework. Really
Good.
nothing to,
You can get an education.
Get
Get that education so you can take care of my ass.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I told you it's in the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm. You and your damn technicalities.
Fine print and the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't
Next
it also in the birth certificate, too, that he gets 10% of our Patreon funds?
Shit!
Something like that? So
That has been added in recently.
Uh-oh.
You guys are going to become famous.
Big if on that one.
Well, you know what, viewers? Donate to that Patreon that doesn't exist still.
Donate to my dad.
Yeah, I do take checks, credit
Help
cards
him-
over the phone,
Help him buy more toys and comics.
right? More concert tickets.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I didn't do any sort of epic stuff this week, unfortunately. So that's why I
broaden your horizons to epic stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I had more time, that would be nice. But I just this month has flown by. Ever since I got back, it's just like I can't believe it's Sunday already. And then I'm sure I'm going to be saying the same thing next week when it flies by again. Just feels like I'm I don't know. It sucks the way my schedule is with classes and stuff. It feels like I'm always I never have time to really sit down and just chill, because it's always oh well, you got an hour before you go do this thing, or oh, here's an hour and a half before this thing, and if I want to get into a game or something, that's not really enough time to sit down and actually really get into it.
I feel you there. Have you been
just,
reading anything lately?
Yeah, I mean, I usually read before I go to bed. It helps me sleep. I'm currently reading, it is the first book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. I actually have it sitting right next to me. It is called Gardens of the Moon. So it's this big, fantasy story about this empire that... It's hard to explain because essentially there was a coup, and the new empress is trying to take over the rest of the continent that it's on, and there's one like ancient city that's holding out still. So it's about like the different factions and stuff like that vying for power, and like there's stuff going on in the background with like, you know, sinister shadow bound forces like with the, you know, the gods and stuff of this universe. It's really interesting. I mean, there's a lot of like cool, like the way they do magic is kind of neat. They're called warrens, and I guess essentially what it is whenever you're using your magic or whatever, you're tapping into like the realm of one of the different gods or something like that. You're like tapping into that and using essentially their power like through your, you know, whatever your focus is. But yeah, no, it's really good so far. I had it recommended to me, and I picked it up a little while ago, but have been just slowly making my way through it.
Nice.
So yeah, I try to.
Is that one of the, didn't you buy that when you were out here?
No, I actually got it off Amazon.
Oh, you did? I thought you bought something here.
When I think it was like not last summer, but the summer before, I bought Wheel of Time. That was the other big series that I'm looking into starting. But
you haven't started reading that yet.
I've like, so I've read like the first 50 or so pages of the first one, but I couldn't like keep my focus on it, and I think I ended up reading either Dune or the first Drizzt novel instead. But
that's right. You were looking at those, but you didn't buy them. That's right.
Yeah, I have the first three, so I'm gonna read it. I'm just kind of working my way through. So,
yeah, I never read it. I heard it was really good though. A lot of people are stunned that I never read it.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out because I mean, from what I have read, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, that's it's all my epic stuff. So I guess we can get to the topic at hand.
Juicy topics.
Oh yeah, I'm glad we actually have a real topic this episode instead of just fucking the shit show that last episode was.
Wow.
Oh my god.
You know what?
Check out the last episode. Check out episode 24, Minecraft IRL, if you haven't already, because you get to learn a lot about our boy Weezer here.
I'm not ashamed
I'm
of
gonna listen to it on my way to work tomorrow.
I mean, it was really funny. Like I enjoyed recording it, but oh man, for attempting to have a topic, it was not successful, I would say.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was a glorious episode. That's your opinion.
Stacking fucking bricks. But
I didn't actually do any of the stacking this week. What was I doing this week?
Oh jeez, yeah. What fucking manual labor were you doing this week?
I put in a rug. That's about it.
Does it really tie the room together?
You know what? It really does. It does because it matches the color of the walls. It ties the room together so well. I just hope no one pisses on it.
There you go. That's important.
But yeah.
Just don't invite Troy over.
Yeah, no, seriously, he'll like puke on it or something, or break my toilet seat, and they'll somehow affect the rug.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll find its way.
Shards of it will tear into the rug.
Oh no, I can't have that. It's so luscious and soft on my bare feet. It's like, oh, it's heavenly.
Nice.
But anyway. Oh man. What's the topic today, Brandon?
Well, the topic, I'm so glad you asked, like I said earlier, is music. So I figured, we just talk about, because again, we've brought it up before, but, just I had a couple discussion questions that I figured we could talk about, and I'm sure we'll branch out, off of that, and we'll go on our normal tangents like we usually do, and stuff like that. But, yeah, I think first and foremost, I just wanted to ask, what are you listening to currently? What have you had in your rotation? Any specific bands or genres or artists or anything? What have you been bumping lately?
Who are you asking?
I mean anybody. Whoever wants to take it first.
I have to think a little bit first.
I fucking told you this an hour ago.
Mine's kind of easy. With Louder Than Life coming up, being a giant festival that it is, and there's a lot of bands I haven't heard of before. There's a playlist on Spotify that I've had a couple days. I was just kind of cruising through that, trying to see if there's bands that I really want to see and bands that I really don't care to see, and stuff like that. What I like, what I don't like. Other than that, I've been listening to a lot of. I'm probably gonna say his name wrong. Leo Moricelli. With him, he is the one-man band behind Frog Leap Studios.
Yeah, I can't say I've
never heard of that.
The name sounds vaguely familiar, but
highly recommend looking him up. He does basically he's a one-man band. I want to say he's from Sweden or something like that, one of the European countries, somewhere weird. And what he does is he takes like top 40 songs and things like that, and he just rocks them out like real heavy, screamy lyrics. Like he just changes the vocal and everything. So like I think he does. Actually, if you look up his YouTube videos, I think he does the SpongeBob one, the SpongeBob theme, like the Wheels on the Bus. But then he does have like legit songs that he covers. Like he does a cover of Johnny Be Good, or actually Hello by Adele. He does a better version of Zombie than that Bad Wolves band does. Like that. But the reason why I was listening to it is because the band like they want to do some of his songs like in the style of him, so I've been using him as a reference.
Yeah, I'm looking him up on Spotify here. There's like a whole playlist with all his stuff on here. I like how it's all these different songs, metal cover, and then Ariel's acoustic cover.
Yeah, he does a cover of Sober by Tool. That it's a lot more mellow, like than the original. But it's funny because Chris, the bass player in our band, is all happy about it because I can actually sing that version of it, and he wants to cover it.
Nice.
But because I can't do Maynard's version because of the higher notes I can't hit. But Leo's version I can do, so I can learn it from there and I can base it off of that. So.
Yeah, that does sound neat. I have always kind of enjoyed those artists that take different songs and like kind of put them into different genres like that.
Yeah, like me first and the Gimmes. Yeah, the stuff that they do is really cool. They do a lot of stuff like that, but this is on the heavier spectrum. It's not punk. It's
right,
like just heavy metal, And then the other band I was really listening to for a little while there was Alien Weaponry. I had you listen to them when we were in the car, and I can't remember the name of the band we found after that.
It's Tenger Cavalry.
Tenger Cavalry with the throat singing.
Yep, Mongolian. The fucking Mongolian throat singing along with like metal. That shit was crazy.
Good.
It was good though. It was like interesting. Like it was really good.
Hard.
Yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like I was listening to it.
It honestly kind of sounded like some shit out of Dynasty Warriors.
Right? Right? It had that real Asian feel to it. And, how you do? I don't even know how you make that noise.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't even know how you would make that noise.
To channel some deep spirits of the ancient Mongolian warlords.
Apparently.
Channel your Genghis Khan.
I guess. Yeah, you gotta go into like a meditation and just fucking really focus on it.
Yeah, like
The Mongolian steppe.
Do you remember Chuck? He knew a guy who was really good at that.
Really? That somehow doesn't surprise me, actually.
Yeah.
Knowing Chuck.
He had brought him to our studio before, and there's recordings of him on Dave's recorder of him singing that way. Like, and it just freaked me out. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you make that? I don't understand at all.
Yeah,
there's like a tutorial or something on like Expert Village.
Yeah, I'm sure if you look it up on YouTube, just like 5 minutes how to Mongolian throat sing.
Just some like 13-year-old with his like shitty laptop webcam teaching you how to Mongolian throat sing.
Probably.
Practicing screamo.
Oh my god. Classic video. Oh man. So yeah, definitely getting into a lot of metal, I see.
Yeah, mostly for the band. Like I'll still around and listen to the Gears and the Dickies. I have my old 70s punk list that I still listen to too. I'm not like really focused on one thing right now. I'm just kind of all over the place. Whenever the mood strikes, just whatever.
Yeah. Hey guys,
because
my dad rocks.
all I listen to is Beefcast when I'm in the car.
Nice.
My favorite band.
Yep, exactly. It's our biggest fan. Well, hey, all right. So how about you, Weaver? What have you been getting into lately?
More of the same, really. I have my steady rotation of brand new and working my way through Fall Out Boy's discography again, sans the past 3 albums.
Well, yeah,
obviously. But branching my way into some more 80s stuff, like Talking Heads and The Cure, things like that. But I just recently went through Modest Mouse's discography. Actually, no, wait, I have to listen to their latest album. But they're pretty good. I've been really vibing with some Modest Mouse lately. It's just it reminds me of the Pixies almost. Well, not the Pixies, but I really do like Pixies as well. They're pretty fun.
I just saw them this year.
Oh, I really want to see them live. I know they were here recently.
Yeah, they were with Weezer.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was.
Yeah,
really
I tell you what. After all the shows that we've seen this year, that is the best one I've been to all year.
Really?
The Weezer and the Pixies. Weezer was amazing, and it's just there's like not a lot to them. You know what I mean? They just come out and play their music, talk a little bit, but the way the sets change and everything, like their first 5 or 6 songs, they were like the way the stage was set up looked like Arnold's from their first video.
Oh, nice.
From Happy Days and everything. And then as they're like doing like this little skit where they're changing it to his garage, they like to go off the first album, like the song In My Garage, they set it up to like look like it's his garage and everything. But there's people like walking in and out, like they're talking to him and stuff, the way they're moving. It's just really neat. It was a really great show. And they were just really good, like a very, very tight band. I don't know. It was definitely the best show. Like usually we leave early anyways to beat the traffic no matter where we're at. We usually leave even if it's a band we've seen a couple times or even if it's when we haven't, we usually leave early. But this was the first time Sue and I both wanted to stay through the whole show. Like we didn't want to leave till it was over because it was just that entertaining,
Damn. I definitely wouldn't have pegged Weezer as being that, making that much of an impression, I guess, on stage.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see him. That's the first chance I had because I've always liked them. I always thought like, when you hear him on the radio, it's just one of those bands that you don't turn off. Like for me, anyways. Like I always would listen to him. Like, I always like these guys. And then when Sue found out they were coming, she actually, I think it was a Christmas gift. She got the tickets for me for Christmas.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like Weezer. I really only listen to Pinkerton, so I don't have the full. I didn't listen to a lot of the essentials, but I did enjoy Pinkerton. So.
How have you not
See,
listened to the
I couldn't
album?
tell you the album names. Yeah, I couldn't tell you the album names, but their first one is just phenomenal. It's good from beginning to end.
The good thing about Weezer is a lot of their album names are just Weezer, but it's just a different color.
Well, yeah,
so
it's
it's like
the
I think
blue
the first
album,
one was
the
like
green
the
album,
green
the red album, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I guess it would be the blue album then. That one was really good.
Yeah. Well, hey, all right. Is that
What about you, Brandon? What are you listening to? What are you
Are you bumping?
Can we argue? What can we argue about?
I don't know. I mean, so okay, most recently, I've been trying to be a snobby bitch and go through because the 4chan music board, they have this big old list. It's like essentials for just basically the albums like collectively that they agree on that like all of them like and stuff like that. So I've been and I'm in a lot of music groups on Facebook, and a lot of those lists carry over into those groups and stuff like that. So I've been trying to work my way through some of the stuff on those. So like I was listening to Swans, Godspeed You Black Emperor, Animal Collective, Slow Dive, stuff like that. And I don't know, I mean, maybe it's because I wasn't like actually like really sitting and focusing on listening to the albums, but like I couldn't get into a lot of it. Like a lot of it was just kind of boring and kind of droned on. Like I don't know. It just definitely wasn't for me. Like Godspeed You Black Emperor was interesting because their album that everybody raves over, Lift Your Skinny Fists or whatever. I can't remember what the full title is, but it's 4 songs and they're all well over 20 minutes long. So
Oh yeah, that's their shtick.
It's and it's just very strange. I don't know. I couldn't really get into it that much. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just not patrician enough.
You're not enough of a post-rock head.
I guess. I mean,
I can honestly say I've never heard of any of those bands.
well, hey, there you go. Argue with me about that, fucker.
Well, you didn't enjoy it, so we agree.
Yeah, right.
If you don't like it, I'm obviously not going to like it. I mean, the fact that I have never heard of those bands.
Yeah,
I
don't know. It just wasn't doing it for me. It was pretty boring, I must say. But again, maybe I'm just my tastes are too plebeian for them.
Good car ride music.
Yeah.
Kind of just put it on and
I could definitely see it.
About changing the album.
Yeah, I mean, it is just kind of droning. Like, honestly, that Swans album just kind of sounded like one long song. But yeah, then I listened to In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson, which was always an interesting time. Let's see, what else? Shit, let me just look at Spotify.
That actually, while you're looking at that just made me remember whenever I said droning on. Another thing I've been listening to a lot of was Aphex Twin. I've been getting into his stuff because he just put out a new EP, like I think a couple weeks ago or something. But
Nice.
Really?
I
remember that name from. I remember that name from years ago. Like.
Oh yeah, he's been doing shit since like. I mean, his first album was like '92, I believe. But that's still a good one. Selected Ambient Works, '86 to '92.
Is that like more electronic? Like.
Yeah, it's like electronic and like I forget what the genre is. It's like acid something. I don't know. It has acid in the name. Yeah, something
acid
like
house
that.
Because I've heard of him before, but I can't say I've actually. Maybe I have heard of something he's done. But I recognize the name.
Oh yeah, he's a really talented producer, and there's definitely endless amounts of artists who've sampled like bits of his tracks for for stuff. I know Kanye West definitely.
Well, yeah, there was a whole debacle about that because there
was a debacle.
Well, yeah, because didn't he say that Kanye just like stole from him or whatever, even though it was a sample or something? It was the one.
I don't know.
It was on Blame Game. Like the piano part of that. Yeah, it was like a sample from him, but he was like, "Oh no, he just stole this," and I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "Do you know what a sample is?"
I mean, yeah, he's certainly sampled a lot. I know for his one track, I forget what it was called. Like, he has crazy song title names. Like, they could just be like just weird. Like, I don't even know how to pronounce half of them, but like there's the one that's just called Equation, but like it's called Equation on Spotify, but the actual song title is like a full like mathematical equation with like parentheses and like exponents and stuff, and that's the song too, Brandon. I don't know if you remember.
I was just
that's
gonna ask.
That's the one where he had like one of those. I don't know if you reverse engineer it, but like they took the track and they put in one of those like music to picture programs, and like the Aphex his whole thing is like his whole character he always has his like this devilish grin for like most of his album covers and most of his like I don't know his art and stuff like that. It's just like variations of him like doing his classic weird grin, and I guess like there's a weird sound at the end of the Equation track that if you put in like the music to image maker, it's just his face, and so he just put his face in the track, and just the sound that played, it was just like this weird electronic craziness. But in the one track I can't remember the name of, he actually sampled like that one scene from RoboCop where he's like I don't know, he was like fighting that one robot that was like Sentry robot that was attacking him, and he like falls down the stairs and makes all these noises. And he like sampled that for one of his songs. It's really cool.
It just reminds me of when Death Grip sampled a printer, or that one Train in Japan or something like that. I can't remember which songs they did it on, but yeah, they sampled that. They sampled a fucking printer sound.
I love sampling. Like another one of Aphex's, it was called like fuck? I was gonna say balsamic vinaigrette, but that's not it.
Yeah, it's something
something like
very
that.
different.
No, like that's what some of his songs are like called, like in that style of just random things. But like the hi-hats for this one track, was just like a lighter flicking and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. So I've been listening to a lot of Aphex Twin, getting into his stuff. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, thanks for
That
taking
made me
over
think
my
of that.
moment, Dick.
Hey, you were looking on Spotify. I thought I'd steal the show
I
for a
know.
little bit.
Well,
Talk about Aphex Twin.
I'm done now. So
Tom York's a big fan of Aphex Twin too,
course
but
he
we can
is.
get into Radiohead later. I can talk about how great Radiohead is
Jesus.
in a moment.
I was gonna say, good thing. Okay, good. At least my dad will bully you for it now that Zach and Jonas aren't here.
Hey, Jonas listens to Andrew Jackson Jihad, so he doesn't have an
That's true.
opinion.
He's not allowed to have opinions.
Yeah, didn't we bully him
after-
relentlessly on like episode 2?
No, it was episode 1, because that was like 2 hours long or some shit. But yeah, he started talking about folk punk or whatever, and yeah, the people that are willingly homeless because fuck the government. And I thought that
Crust punks.
Yeah, and I thought that to be the dumbest goddamn thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I actually saw a couple crust punks in Cranberry Township. Remember where the old sheets used to be?
Yeah, I was
the
with
little
you.
one?
We were in the car.
Oh, that's right, you were. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right, you were.
I've seen some out here.
Crust punk.
Yeah, what
I
they
love
are
that
is
term.
they're kids that are they're middle class kids, and they're just like, fuck the government. I don't need money. I'm just gonna move out of my parents' house and live on the street. And they all have dogs, so they all torture dogs by making them homeless. And they literally just leech off people. They don't shower, and but they have homes to go to. They just don't. Like it's the dumbest thing ever. But they think they're making their statement by saying fuck the government and fuck everybody else because I'm gonna be homeless. Like what? What? I don't see how that works. Like that doesn't make sense. Like I'm a huge punk fan. Like punk music to me was always been about do it yourself ideals. You know what I mean? Like go support local bands, go support local music instead of dropping $20 on a t-shirt for a band at Hot Topic. Spend $5 and go see your friend's band play. You know what I mean? Like to me, punk music it's more than just music. It's an idea. It's like a not a way of life, but it's I don't even want to say an attitude, but but this crust
like a
punk
mindset.
thing, and yeah, it's a mindset. That's what I was looking for. This crust punk thing, where like, how are you hurting anybody by making yourself homeless, other than the dog that you take with you and force your dog to be homeless? Like, I don't know. I don't.
And
Meals are stupid.
not to mention
I
it.
just love that name.
Oh,
Crust
yeah.
punk.
And not to mention it cheapens the struggles of people who are actually homeless and struggling to get by.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's
Because
like-
you can't tell if they're just damn the man or if they're really come upon hard times.
Mhm.
Like you don't know if you're actually helping someone legitimately or if you're not. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I've seen a few of them around here. I was actually I think Jenny and I were getting food somewhere over in the Dinkytown area here by the U, and we were walking by, and I had my Iron Fist shirt on, and this dude sitting there, him and his friends had a dog, open guitar case, and the one guy was like playing music. He points at my shirt. He's like, "Oh man, I love Tech Nine." I'm like, "That's not what this is, dude." I'm like, it's not. And then his friend's like, "Oh, you got a cigarette, man?" I was like, "Nope, I don't smoke." He's like, "Where's the shows at? Where's the music at? You got money? I need food." I'm like, "I fuck off, dude." Like yeah. I don't know. It was an unpleasant experience to say the least. But yeah. Anyway, back to me. I do have to say I've been really enjoying the new track by Joji, formerly Filthy Frank on YouTube. He's really been I think he's really been coming into his own recently as an artist, now that he's stopped doing YouTube videos and stuff like that and started really making a focused effort to make music his career. And his newest track, Slow Dancing in the Dark, I absolutely fucking love. And I really wasn't a fan of his initial EP. I think it was, I can't remember what it was called.
In Tongues.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it just all sounded really samey to me, and just, I don't know. It was
Tempo piano.
Yeah, the generic, like, oh, sad, lo-fi hip-hop kind of stuff. But I definitely feel like...
to study too.
Yeah, exactly. But I definitely feel like with this new track, he has really taken it in a more different direction, and like because I mean he is a pretty talented vocalist, and that I think that shines through a lot on this new track. So I've been really enjoying that recently. And then I know it's cheesy, but I do have to say that I've been listening to Mac Miller a lot since he passed. I was never really into him much, growing up or anything when he first came out. But of course, growing up in fucking the Pittsburgh area, it's impossible to avoid him. And I had, a bunch of friends that were really into him. So I'd always heard his music, and, he'd always been there in the background, doing stuff. And I had always interacted with his music here and there. And he actually, when I saw Tyler the Creator live, like the day before graduation, he actually brought Mac Miller out on stage and they did a song together, which was pretty cool. But yeah, so since he passed, I've actually been going back and listening to his older or not his older stuff really, but just his stuff in general. And I definitely have to say, if you're looking for someone who has grown a lot as an artist over the years and changed, I would say listen to his stuff, because like his first album and his most recent one, Swimming, I think it just came out actually last month. They're like completely different album. I mean, obviously they're different albums, but he sounds like a completely different artist. It's kind of neat.
Nice.
But yeah, his newest album was really good.
I couldn't tell you any songs by him. I don't know anything about him. When I found out when he died, the day that was reported that he died, my boss Chris, you met Chris.
Oh, yeah.
He actually went to high school with him. He graduated
really?
with Mac Miller.
No shit.
Yeah, he knew him. They're the same age. They went to high school together.
That's crazy. I mean, and he was only 26. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, right. Him and Chris are the same age. Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so it's more like it's definitely like made me think more than I thought it would. Like I mean, usually with celebrity deaths, you're like, oh wow, that's pretty sad. Like what? And it's a shame, and especially with someone so young. But I mean, like, given how much I had heard about him growing up, I mean, Dan, one of my best friends in high school, he would talk about him constantly. He loved him, and just I guess also the fact that we're so close in age, and that he was from Pittsburgh as well. I was like, oh shit, okay. But yeah, been listening to his stuff, and then I think that's really about it recently. I also gotta shout out the best white rapper to ever do it, Lil Ugly Mane, and his song "Bitch I'm Lugubrious," which the opening line for the chorus is "Bitch I'm morose and lugubrious." Lugubrious is a synonym for depressed or melancholy. I didn't know that previously.
Sounds like an enemy from like Monster Hunter.
It really does.
The Royal Lugubrious.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Lil Ugly Mane, yes.
See, that's the difference between rock and roll and hip hop.
Hip hop teaches you words?
No. Anybody can be a fucking rapper. And you can make up words. You can.
No, it's not a made up word.
Name.
That's real.
You can. Yeah, okay, but you tell me that you've never heard one of your rappers make up a word.
And Shakespeare made up words.
All right, point made. But
pushing
still,
the vernacular.
Rap music doesn't take talent. Like, you don't have to learn anything. Like, you can just grab a thesaurus and sit down one night, and this means this, but this rhymes with this. Okay, this will go together. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought I have more respect for the guys making the beats than I do for the guys rapping over them.
Yeah.
Because
it's all on the producer.
Yeah, because at least if you're making the beat, you're sitting in front of the computer, or the way it used to be in the studio, over the board, cutting the tape and stuff like that. Like, but now it's all done by computer. It's all digital. So you still have, it's still a skill. But like some of these white rappers, like these kids what's that? Tekashi 6ix9ine, is that who that dude is with the 69 tattooed all over his face and shit?
Oh yeah, he's actually, I think he's actually Mexican.
Whatever, whoever he is, I don't care. He's an idiot. Look at him. He's got Skittles for teeth. I mean,
also a pedophile.
Well, yeah, there's that too. Yeah, there's that too. But like, to me, like, anybody can do it. You know what I mean? Thank God for SoundCloud. You know what I mean? And that's not a bash on who you think I'm talking about either. It really isn't. It really isn't because, like, well, I guess it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, because you and I had that discussion about him. So, what he's doing isn't bad, but at the same time, it's not what he should be doing. I don't think.
Disingenuous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's why I don't have a lot of respect for rap music and hip hop anymore because it's not the same. It's not what it used to be. Like, ever since, and as much as I hate to blame it on NWA, they started glorifying the gangster life, and all these people are just coming out trying to be that. And they're like, what was that video? I can't remember what it was. I don't know if you showed it to me or not, Brandon, but there's a video. It's like a documentary video where this guy's talking to people like Chuck D and stuff like that, and he's talking to these two rappers about themselves portraying this. They're glorifying the stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
He straight up asks them. He says, "How do you feel that you guys are complaining that that our people are treated a certain way, but yet here you are, you're glorifying and portraying the stereotype that you are saying everybody is making us to be?" And he says, "How does that make you feel?" And both guys just stand there, look right in the camera, and they're dumbfounded. They're just like blank looks on their face. They don't have a word to say. Like, and the camera just like stays on it for like 5 seconds, and they don't have anything to say. You know what I mean? Like, there's no. I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I don't think it's because I'm getting old. I think it's because I've always felt this way. Like, there is some rap music that I like. You know, you turned me on to Sage Francis and B. Dolan, and you know, I really got into those guys. I really enjoy their music. I'm trying to think of some other. Even Kanye. I don't mind Kanye because I feel like he does a lot on the production side as well. That does take some deep thought. You know, it takes some talent to do. I personally think he's batshit crazy, but musically, like
you're talking about the future president here.
Exactly.
You know, but I mean, musically, I think he's great. But some of this other stuff, Tyler, I don't mind Tyler. I like Tyler. Like when you turned me on to all that, I liked all that. I thought that was good. I'm trying to think of some other ones that.
Young Thug.
Yeah, that's arguable, I guess. I mean,
I caught you enjoying a Young Thug song. Damn it.
Young Thug's fun. Young Thug's fun.
Exactly.
The stuff you played for me when we were in the car when you were home most recently. Yeah, I didn't mind. I don't mind it, but I don't know. I couldn't see myself running out and be like, oh, I gotta download that, or I'm gonna go buy his vinyl. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not.
I wish they had Young Thug vinyls. I'd buy the shit out of those.
They're putting everything on vinyl.
I mean, I think. I don't know. I think it's tough to say really, because I mean, I feel like, you know, yeah, the gangster part of it, like, I think there needs to be a distinction made, like what part of it is glorifying it, and then what part of it is, you know, talking about that. I mean, that's the life that they lead. I mean, like, look at Illmatic. You know, that's arguably one of the biggest, you know, and most influential hip hop albums, but it's about, you know, growing up in a shitty neighborhood in New York and, you know, the life that Nas lived. And I mean, I think a lot of trap music as well and stuff like that, it draws on those experiences that these people have. I mean, it's, you know, they say talk about what you know, and that's what they know, you know.
Yeah, but Nas told a story.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's important to draw a distinction there, to draw that, you know.
Well, yeah, because his wasn't always, I'm the baddest, I sell the most drugs, I kill the most people. You know what I mean? He told a story about what it was like growing up in those times. Yeah, that's absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But that's where the distinction should lie. You know what I mean? Once you get into that, oh, I got the biggest gun, I get the most bitches. You know what I mean? Like that, and a white guy who, you know, lives with your dad and
yeah.
You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I agree. Illmatic it's an amazing album. Nas is great. I love Nas. Actually, you want to go even further back, look up KRS-One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Boogie Down Productions.
Mobb Deep.
Obviously.
Wu-Tang.
Yeah, Mobb Deep, Public Enemy, obviously. You know, I mean, like, I respect Chuck D because he was never braggadocious. It was always, this is what's going on. This is how it needs to be fixed. You know, like, that's what it was. He talked about the problems that were going on, not well, I'm gonna go kill this guy or do this. You know what I mean? Like that's where it changed. That's where it got bad, in my opinion. That's what took me out the game.
Yeah, I think, especially in the SoundCloud age, it's kind of like YouTube almost. It's just there's so much. It's so oversaturated. Like how YouTube is with, like, Let's Plays and gaming videos. Like, I think hip hop is just oversaturated with hard beats, with very simplistic, repetitive lyrics. You could just switch out beats with rappers, and it's a lot of the same. It's really hard to delve deep.
You can thank Lil Jon and the Bling/Crunk era for that.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it.
That's really ushered in the, just making club bangers. Which, I mean,
it's not even really like hard anymore.
I can even appreciate, the stuff that is meant to be just a hard ass beat. Like, I mean, it's I find myself less and less feeling like, I need to really sit down and critically engage with everything I listen to. Like, obviously there are plenty of things that I do sit down and do that, and I'm like, okay, here's what all the different things are going on in the song, here's what they are, but I can still appreciate people like Young Thug that are just fun to listen to, or shit that just sounds good blasting in the car.
Yeah, I think
that's the other issue, Brandon, that because you're sitting there doing that with everything you listen to, like just the way you were explaining how you were listening to this, whatever you were talking about before, I can't remember specifically, but you were like breaking it down and everything. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what happened to just listening to music? When did we have to when did we have to start analyzing everything? And you know what I mean? Like, when did that start? You know what I mean? I don't mean you specifically, but like, music is supposed to be fun. Like, the reason why we do the dumb shit that we do in my band is just because we're having fun with it. I finally got with a group of really talented musicians. Your cousin Dave came back, so he's going to play with us.
Nice.
And we're just doing stuff that's fun. We just want to entertain people. Like, we want to go out to the bars out in Beaver County out here and do stuff that people aren't doing. So we're doing the heavier stuff. We're doing the drowning pool, and we're doing the heavier stuff. You know what I mean? Just because everybody else is out there playing like, Nickelback and, or what's another bar band that people like, like Journey. You know what I mean? Like, we want to do different stuff, So, but music's supposed to be about having fun, and if you can tell a story every now and then, so be it. But I don't know, maybe that's why I like punk music so much, like old punk music. Like the Dickies they have a lot of songs that are covers of television shows. Like, they do the Banana Split song. They do the theme from Gigantor. They wrote the theme song for Killer Clowns from Outer Space. They're not very lyrically in detail. They don't have to be. It's just punk music. It's just fun. Quick to the point. It's fun. I don't know. Aren't having fun anymore. We're serious. There's too much going on that everybody have to change the world and stop it with my music.
So it's interesting that you make that point, but then you've given me shit for listening to artists that I just think are fun.
Yeah, but okay. Ninja Sex Party, Brandon. Come on, seriously.
I mean, they're just fun. I mean, okay, that's different because that's like specifically comedy music. No, but like stuff like, again, before you listen to him, stuff like Young Thug, every time I would bring him up, you'd be like, oh, here we go again, eye roll.
Here he is with this Young Thug again.
Exactly.
That's just because it's hip hop, and I thought I raised you better than that.
What? Did you raise me to be not open-minded? Okay.
Yes.
Or like, Lil B. Anytime I fucking
hate everything.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
closed-minded and hate everything.
Yeah, or anytime I talk about Lil B, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess that's where my age comes in, because what you guys consider fun, I'm like, you guys are a bunch of idiots. It's dumb.
Yeah, that very well could be just the generational gap.
That's where the generation gap is. Yeah, absolutely. Even though we do agree on a lot of things, that's where the generation gap is right there. Because that's not funny to me. That's just
fair.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. Like, I have my artists that like especially with hip hop for me, there's like a small handful of hip hop that actually just listen to and appreciate lyrically, but like 90% of the hip hop that I listen to is just stuff that I think sounds good or goes hard, and just it's fun music to listen to. I'm not really trying to get a true real feeling or reading from it, but I think for a lot of my music, like that's why I've been really getting into a lot of 80s stuff lately. I just love the sound of rock from that era. I like, it's just fun. Guitar work is really good. But a lot of the stuff that I found is the music that I listen to really appreciate. Like, there's songs I listen to get that instant gratification, and then there's the songs that I listen to that it's like a slow burn, or there's like specific moments like halfway through the track that I really like. Just why I like Radiohead, but there's slow burn, but some of their stuff, but I do like overall experience. And I know I talked about the Radiohead live experience in an earlier episode, but I still think that was an amazing live show that they put on. It was just visually and sonically, like, it was fun. Like, everyone was vibing. Everyone was kind of just sulking in unison, and it was great.
I listened to that when you were talking about that on the one episode, and it's funny because the day after the Radiohead show, one of the guys from DVE was actually there, and your review of the concert and his review of the concert were almost the same. It was really funny listening to you talk about it. I'm like, yeah, that's what the dude he said he was there. And he's like, I just never seen a crowd that was so quiet, and they were all just so bad the whole time.
I mean, you can't really expect like a mosh pit at a Radiohead show.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. That is very true.
There's a sulk pit.
Everybody's just looking at each other. Do you want to hug me? No. No.
There's a Tom York moaning pit.
Yeah, just a group of people just all wearing hoodies and looking down, screaming and moaning. But it was a damn good show. When Colin gets his big Crypt Keeper fingers on that bass guitar and just goes in for some of their bass-heavy songs, it's just the whole arena shakes, and you're just like, all right, we can just vibe to this. It's pretty cool, but I won't talk about it.
I just never really got into them. I don't hate them or anything. I just never got into them. Like, a couple of their songs, like, there's a lot I couldn't tell you that if it's Radiohead or not, but from what I've heard, I don't mind them. You know, I'm not a band I'd run out to go see, but I can respect them. You know,
they're very musically diverse, and a lot of their albums have different tones and feels, and they manage to not keep things the same, which is good. But Tom York's vocals is definitely a big stopping point for a lot of people. They can't really get beyond like Creep and look at some of the other stuff that they did, just because he's just kind of a different kind of vocalist.
Hell yeah. Well, this has been the Radiohead hour.
Now we're all morose and sad.
Yeah, right now I'm just sad. Oh man. Well, I guess that brings us then to our next discussion question. I guess it's a two-parter, and it's probably going to be our last really big talking point here as we're approaching the little over an hour mark. And that's just what's your favorite genre, or the one you tend to listen to the most, and how did you get into it? I think we've really talked about so far. We've touched on our favorite genres here and there, but I guess more of the story of how you got into it would be the more interesting part of it. So whomever wants to go first can take that one.
Oh, sorry. That's my big pause at the end of my Radiohead spiel was I was taking a phone call, so...
No, that's fine. I was transitioning into the next question, so it's all good.
It's okay. It was actually Brandon that was calling you.
I'm telling you to shut the fuck up about Radiohead.
Tell me about the next topic.
Stop talking about Radiohead. Zach's calling you from his break. Are you talking about Radiohead again? I hate you.
Not the first time I've been told to stop talking about Radiohead.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I guess if I may, I could use that to answer your question then.
Go ahead.
Radiohead's not a genre; it's a band.
No, I know. But, well, no. Whenever I was in high school, that was the genre that I listened to.
That was music entirely.
No, I think I've touched before on my musical history in that I basically had 30 Seconds to Mars until high school. This is what I listened to, and then it was Radiohead till college. But I kind of transitioned from. I didn't really have a genre whenever I was younger, but really, my favorite genre that I love now, and I can talk about for ages, is emo, and not like Hot Topic emo kind of thing, but just like sort of like the post-hardcore punk, not really pop punk like Fall Out Boy or like Paramore, but kind of like a nice emo blend, and it's kind of had a resurgence in recent years.
Well, what would you consider emo? Like Hawthorne Heights? I'm trying to think. There was a bunch of bands at Rock on the Range this year. A lot of old emo bands. Hawthorne Heights was there. Asking Alexandria was there, but then again, they've managed to evolve. They're still putting out some newer stuff, which is a little heavier. I'm trying to think who else was there. Shit.
I would say Hawthorne Heights. It's kind of like in between. I think their first album is more emo, and they kind of got a little pop punky.
Yeah.
In later efforts, but it's like I think pop punk is like a subgenre of emo. It's like one of the facets, but like what I consider emo is like it's more of like a 90s and early 2000s kind of sound. Like some of the earlier Jimmy Eat World albums, I feel really capture that. I guess obviously the big meme American Football, like their album, that was pretty. It's just like a sort of. I don't know really how to explain it, but I do enjoy pop punk as well, and there's definitely a huge amount of overlap. But pop punk is more kind of a radio friendly, 3-minute kind of ordeal. But
now, who do you consider pop punk? Like, are you talking about like Green Day, Blink-182, bands like that? Okay.
Fall Out Boy,
they're
until recently.
Pop punk, Fall Out Boy, like early Paramore was more pop punk, like All Time Low,
Okay.
and oh geez, look on
Sum
Spotify.
41.
yeah, stuff like that, like. But then like. There's such a huge overlap, so I guess I'll use the pop punk and emo interchangeably. I guess I do like both a lot. Like I was really happy too a couple years ago. Whenever I found out about Armor for Sleep, they were kind of a lesser known pop punk group, and I really do like their stuff. And hey, the lead singer of that band said thanks to me on Twitter, so I'm pretty much a celebrity.
There you go. Dude,
He kind of looks like Justin Long. We should get him on the podcast.
Hell
But he
yeah.
looks just like Justin Long, so we can get him and Justin Long on the podcast, and they can battle.
Yep, exactly.
But
See, now, when you say emo, I think of bands like My Chemical Romance, AFI.
oh yeah.
That's when you say emo. That's the stuff I think of.
Yeah. I forgot about My
ballpark
Chemical
here.
Romance.
Yeah.
How could I forget about them? No, yeah, they're that. I mean, a lot of their songs are pop punky. Like, I will say, okay, at least for My Chemical Romance, their very first album, that was definitely a lot more emo, I would feel. But then, like, their later stuff was more pop punky. It's like a very hard distinction, but there's elements of both in their albums. But no, yeah. My Chemical Romance is good. Obviously, I've said it a billion times. Brand New, I do like them a lot. I think they're honestly probably one of my new favorite bands. Even in spite of recent events regarding their lead singer. I do like them a lot. I kind of treat them like the Radiohead of emo music, and sort of like they kind of evolved their sound, but then it kind of comes full circle almost. But what else is there? There's like Dashboard Confessional. That's pretty pop punk.
Oh yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, see now, I would rate Dashboard as emo.
Yeah.
I see them more on the emo side, but yeah, I forgot about them. I forgot about Dashboard.
There's what else is there? I really do like Say Anything. I think they're really good with
Yeah,
Max
I like
Venus. He's a pretty talented vocalist, because like their album Is a Real Boy. It's kind of like critiquing the emo pop punk scene almost. It's kind of like that whole album is like a concept album that's like a parody of all that stuff, but they still have really good tracks in there. Like what was it? Fuck! How could I not remember anything that they did right now? Brandon, help me out. The one about the Holocaust.
Alive with the Glory of Love.
Yeah, that one's good. I like that one. Admit It. But yeah, stuff like that. Taking Back Sunday too. I would consider them more emo than pop punk. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint like what exactly emo is, but it's like it's all encompassing term for all that kind of that vein of music. But yeah, that's my favorite genre. That's kind of what I always come back to on the playlist whenever I'm trying to find something to listen to in the car. That's kind of what I always circle back to, is stuff like that. Like I like hip hop too, but I just like emo and pop punk more. It's just there's a lot of variety in the genre, and it's not always about being sad. So the kind of the meme is that like you have to be sad all the time, but there's a lot of those elements too in like regular like rock and alternative rock, which is
those are in all kinds of music. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's what I think too. Is kind of like it sort of like a lot of the pop punk bands, the staples that existed like 10 years ago that like me and Brandon really listened to, like Fall Out Boy and Paramore and just stuff like that. They either like went one of two ways. They kind of switched to like a full pop, stay relevant kind of sound, and then there was like a few that kind of just evolved into a more alternative rock sort of sphere, in that they weren't necessarily like emos, kind of just like with the new Brand New record, and even stuff after their second album, they kind of went in more of like an alternative and darker kind of rock. So there was kind of like a split where they went either like pop, like the new Fall Out Boy records, which we don't discuss on this podcast because it makes me mad and it makes me sad. It just makes me so upset at what happened to them. But you know what? I mean, they're able to stay relevant, and you know what? They're one of the biggest bands now, but it just sucks because I like them so much, and I want to like the new stuff I do, but it's just like
not good.
It's just not Fall Out Boy. It's not the Fall Out Boy.
The songs were better. The songs were so much better.
Like lyrically too. Like even lyrically, Pete Wentz. I don't know. Pete Wentz must have like taken a fall and hit his head during their hiatus, and he just came up with shit lyrics afterwards. But like, I just love, like especially with like they're just so witty, and like with Home Hallelujah, the one line, it's like, sometimes we take chances, sometimes we take pills, and just stuff like that. I just love lyrics like that. And now it's just like, he wants to dance like Uma Thurman, X12. I'm like, all right. I mean, okay. If that's what you want to do, that's fine, but I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. Someone else go.
Well, did you say how you got into it? I can't remember. It was a long.
Well, like I said, I kind of listened to a lot of 30 Seconds to Mars, which I guess was pop punk. I don't even know, but I had a lot of their CDs, like burned copies of their CDs that I would just listen to a lot of, and then I got into Radiohead after watching. I was into like a certain YouTuber, and he was really into Radiohead, and that's kind of how I started listening to Radiohead. But like to just get back into like the emo stuff that I like now, it kind of started with like Paramore, because I kind of rediscovered them a few years ago, and I was like, oh, I used to listen to this on my iPod. And then after that, I just sort of, Spotify obviously was a big help in just not only like rediscovering a lot of the stuff that I just listened to on the radio whenever I was like in middle school, but like it kind of helped me find new stuff. And it kind of just, it wasn't like a succinct moment where like, hey, I'm into this genre now. It was kind of just like gradually, you know, rediscovering songs. I was like, oh wow, I remember that, or hey, that sounds pretty good. And it was kind of just a gradual thing, kind of how I got into emo and pop punk recently. Just
Hell yeah.
recommendations and stuff like that.
Pop punk is a gateway to real.
To real punk.
Yeah.
You know, I actually did listen to a little bit of Ramones earlier today, so
Wow.
maybe.
See, now that they're all dead, the Ramones are more of a pop punk band, because I don't know which one of you guys said it about wearing the T-shirt bands you've never listened to. On one of the other podcasts, I don't know who said it. It made me laugh though, because like that's what Brandon said, that he knows that I know who the Misfits are because I own a Misfits T-shirt. But like the Ramones were like that too. Like I'm not gonna lie, my first Ramones shirt I had when I was probably 6th or 7th grade. It was a white T-shirt. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who had it. I think it might have been my aunt's, and I ended up getting it. I didn't know who they were. I had no idea, but I had the shirt when I was that young. I didn't know anything about it. But yeah, it's a gateway. You'll go from the Ramones to the Sex Pistols to the Misfits. The Misfits are more horror punk. Like all their songs are about killing stuff and guts and stuff like that.
A bit of Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop, yeah. Iggy Pop is a legend. He was, Iggy and the Stooges. A lot of good.
I think I like some of that stuff.
Look up. I'm telling you, if you enjoyed the Ramones, look up the Dickies. They're kind of like the Ramones in the sense that they're just it's just fun. It's what punk music's supposed to be. It's just not political. It's not anything out of the ordinary. It's just fun music. It's just a lot of like. They have a song called "If Stuart Could Talk," and I'm not going to tell you what it's about. I'll let you listen to it. But yeah, let's just say the three of us have a Stuart, and if it could talk, what would it say to you? But it's funny. Like if you listen to the lyrics, it's actually funny. They're just really interesting. They're just up there having fun, and they've been doing it since the late '70s, early '80s.
The Dickies.
The Dickies. Yep. Dickies. Yeah. I think you'd like that. If you like the Ramones, I think you'd like the Dickies. They're just a lot of fun.
Okay, I'll have to check them out.
Hell yeah. All right. I don't know, Dad. Would you like to go next?
Yeah, I don't care. I don't really have a specific genre, because when I was growing up, like all we had was the radio. Like I didn't have the internet and stuff like that. Like you had. Well, in my house, the albums that grandfather and grandmother listened to, like the Oak Ridge Boys. I grew up around country music. So anytime I had a chance to listen to something on the radio, like on DVE, when I was like first hearing Queen for the first time, or David Bowie or Zeppelin or the Rolling Stones, it was like, fresh hell is this? Like this is not what I'm used to listening to in my house. Like this is awesome, But then like other people's parents like were into rock and roll, and I remember the one bus stop I went to, my friend Mike, who was right out front of his house, so I'd go over to his house, and his parents were always gone. They left for work earlier than the bus, so while we were waiting for the bus, if it was raining or whatever, instead of standing outside, he'd be playing his stepdad's Queen albums. And it was just like, wow, this is just awesome. Like the Brian May's guitar work and Freddie Mercury's vocals, and that led into hearing Under Pressure with him and David Bowie. And then in high school, my friend was really into David Bowie, and he got me into David Bowie and Alice. it was just a lot of exposure, like because we didn't have the internet. We were recording songs off the radio if you could catch it at the right time, or we would go to places like National Record Mart and Camelot Music, like places that don't even exist anymore. And you'd get your exposure. Like you'd take a chance on buying something because of one song. Like you buy a whole album because of one song, and you just hope you got a good album out of it. You didn't really know, and that was the beauty of it. So I guess I made my progression the normal way.
Mm. Uh-oh. What in the hell is going on right now? All right, so we're gonna pause briefly because I can't hear anybody. Twitch just did something weird, so give me a minute. That was real weird. Okay, not sure what happened there.
What happened there?
I don't
I don't
know.
know. Something bricked.
Yeah, so I think the client just pooped itself and anyway.
Opinions in music.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so anyhow, so I think the last thing I really caught was you saying you made your progression the normal way.
Oh yeah, just okay, just the normal way from hearing it on the radio, and then having you around, showing you the old stuff that I like, and then the stuff that you're into, and then the stuff we agree on, listening to discovering together and stuff like that. But more recently, I guess the old punk music is what's really standing out to me, because I'm just too old to give a shit about the rappers and stuff now. And like I was just saying to Zach, it's fun. It's just fun music. There's not a lot of thought into it. It's 3 chords, 4 chords at the most. It's just fast in your face, and it's just fun songs. That's about it. There's no real, but I can still, I went to see Stone Sour. Actually, the day after you went back to Minnesota, Sue and I went to the Stone Sour show. It was a great show. Like, Corey Taylor's phenomenal. He's one of my favorite vocalists. Seether is Tuesday night. So I still, see the main band. So I really don't have a specific genre that I'm more into than anything. I just like to be around music and just like to hear different things. And,
I did like your point about buying and like getting an album based on like one song. I really like that, because it's like I kind of miss that we don't really have that anymore with the internet, because we just have all this music that we could just have access to and stuff like that, and we don't have to take any risks or chances. But there was almost kind of like a magic, because even remember, like whenever I was a kid, even like I would like buy a CD, have my mom buy me a CD based off of like one song that I liked, and it would just be like a new experience. I wouldn't have any prior knowledge of some of the other songs on the album, and it was kind of like a chance. But there was also like excitement in that. You're just like, you discover new stuff, and it's just like, hey, this doesn't sound that bad. But now it's like you can look up an entire artist's history and just everything that the individual and the band has done, and just quickly access all their stuff. So there's kind of like, there's like a magic in not having all those options almost, and sort of exploring and going into unknown territory. Like, for example, like I know whenever I was first getting into Radiohead, sorry we're talking about Radiohead again, but I bought their entire discography on CD, and I got a couple of their singles too, and I just put on one of the singles at random in the car, and it wasn't actually a Radiohead CD, it was a Captain Beefheart CD, like one of his best of records. And I had no conception of Captain Beefheart. It was like this, oh my gosh, it was like the most bizarre experience ever, but like I loved it. It was just so, and then I was like, I started researching Captain Beefheart and just looking into some of his stuff, and it was just like, it was so cool, because it's like I would have never have known to even look into that, or even who the heck that was, and just by chance I got the wrong CD just in a Radiohead box set, and I just made a cool discovery, and I was like, hey, this isn't that bad. It's not something I would have bought outright. I would have never have known about this. So it's kind of like you miss a chance of exploring in the internet age almost. I mean, you could obviously, like, I know at least on YouTube, like on the recommendations, when you just find a random song that's been on your recommended feed for a while and you finally click it, and then you go to the comments, then all these people are like, wow, my YouTube recommendation was pretty cool for once. And so people just randomly finding music that the YouTube algorithm gives them. So that's kind of like the new way of finding new stuff. There was this one song, I gotta look it up. It's like Boy Pablo or something. Yeah, Boy Pablo. It's just this random indie band, and they had this one song called Every Time. And I guess it's the case for a lot of people too. It just kept appearing in their YouTube recommendations page, and eventually people just clicked on it. It turned out to be a really cool song, and people would have never known really to look it up on their own. Like there's even an article about this specific song. It's like I'm looking up right now. YouTube's algorithms keep recommending this song, and it's a hidden gem. So it's like that's kind of like the new way of finding stuff, is like random algorithms and stuff like that appears in your recommended. But
for a while there, for us, when MTV first started in '84, that was another big thing. We were out in Cranberry and finally got cable TV and everything, and MTV used to actually show music. They actually used to show videos like 24 hours a day. And they'd always have like the new artist of the week or whatever like that, and you'd see a new video, and that would be another way that you could experience things. That was another draw, so.
Oh yeah, oh wow, you just opened up a whole thing of memories that I had. That's actually how I found out a lot about like 30 Seconds to Mars and stuff like that. It was like on VH1 MTV, like the top 15 stuff. And
yeah,
I was kind of like, wow, that was like my only chance of listening to that music too. I didn't have like an iPod or like, and the radio. I listened to like classical music on the radio. That's pretty much all I did. But whenever a song would come on VH1, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah, that was I always remembered like my favorite thing was the friggin' Headbangers Ball. It was on when I started getting into, like, I don't even want to call it hair metal, because it wasn't really hair metal. It was heavier than that. It was like when Pantera and stuff started getting out of the hair metal phase, because believe it or not, Pantera did put out a hair metal album, and their first album was like strictly hair metal. Like if you heard the way this guy would sing, if you heard the way Phil sang compared to the way he sings now, well, I shouldn't say now, but we'll say recently, it was actually hair metal. So the Headbangers Ball would come on, and it was from like Friday night from midnight until 2. I would do stay up as late as I could, stay my damnedest just to stay awake, and if I couldn't, I'd record it. I'd have it have the VCR set and watch it the next day. But I found all these different metal bands through that and stuff like that. That was actually really cool. That was a lot of fun way to discover. And then well, I guess Napster would have been the first one. I don't know if you guys ever used Napster at all, but
I've heard stories of the legend of Napster.
Yeah, Napster was before LimeWire. Like Napster was the original before Metallica got all butthurt and sued them because then of my music anymore. Well, it wasn't because of Napster. It was because your music started to suck. Like you weren't making good music anymore. So that's why people weren't buying your music, because it was awful. Like after they sold out and did the Injustice for All and did that was the crap when it started going downhill for me. I saw the Injustice for All tour, and that was the last time I ever really like listened to Metallica on purpose.
I know that Napster, they like fell apart, didn't they? And now they have like, I think they're back, but it's like a new service. But there's also, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jamster, which is like an offshoot of them, and they do the really weird, like 3D animated, like high pitched, like phone ringtones that you can get.
Oh, and I've heard of that. Yeah.
With like the weird little animated characters, almost like the Gummy Bear song-esque kind of things.
Okay.
You can buy and download to your phone. Actually, I listened to the Sleepycast podcast. Maybe we'll save that for the podcast episode where we talk about podcasts. But I love the Sleepycast, and they always talk about all these weird Jamster things, like the there's like this animated mammoth named like Wonky, and it's just like this really weird video of he's just like singing about like his broken heart, and then it's just like the woman in the infomercial's like, "Isn't Wonky so funny? You can get this ringtone too and send it to your friends for $2.99." Wow, that's all right. So I guess that's what Napster's up to now. They're pushing their Jamster stuff. That probably isn't even now though. That was probably like 10 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember Jamster. I remember the commercials. So I haven't seen one in a while though, but I remember the commercials. But I don't know if Napster's still going or not. I thought that there was a rumor they were coming back, but now it's a pay service like iTunes or whatever. But when it was originally out, there was like you could what would they P2P, peer-to-peer, I guess is what it was called. I don't remember. But you could. It was so hard to find anything. But when you did find it, it was like a gold mine. You know, like, oh, I found this one song finally. It's never been released before in the States. And, you know, that was fun. That was always fun, the rare finds. But I had a couple Korn songs that I never heard on an album before. I don't know if they were like live versions or what, but.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did with 30 Seconds to Mars. Back in the LimeWire days, I was able to find some hidden songs, hidden tracks that I never heard in an album before, but I'm actually looking online now. It looks like Napster is kind of like a Spotify kind of thing. It's like a subscription service for listening to unlimited music. So
yeah, I thought that's what it was supposed to be. Like when it came back, it was supposed to do that.
Into a legal music listening service. So are they like in trouble with like the FBI or something?
Oh yeah, Lars Ulrich, the drummer for Metallica, he was the one that started all that.
Oh right, yeah.
Started the case against Napster to get it shut down, and they found out they took him to court and realized why it was illegal, because it was technically you're stealing copyrighted music. Like that was the big thing. Like I said, Lars cried because they weren't making any money and everybody was getting their music. So that was the big issue that started everything.
It's interesting how the brand like it rebrands and second chance almost after a disgrace of a lawsuit comes back as like a Spotify service.
Well, I guess right after it got shut down on one of the MTV awards, the guy who was in charge of Napster came out. He was at an award show, an MTV award show with Metallica, and he was actually wearing a Metallica t-shirt, and Lars was wearing a Napster t-shirt.
Oh,
yeah, I guess they made friends and everybody made money, and then, you know, somehow it had, like, they got money off this guy somehow, and everybody was happy and they all made friends in the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if this new Napster service is partially owned by Metallica.
It would make sense
somehow.
Miss LimeWire though. LimeWire was great.
The other one, BearShare, was one that I used.
FrostWire too, I think, but I didn't use it that much.
Yeah, FrostWire I had.
I remember whenever I first got my iPod, I got like a little iPod Shuffle, and my parents gave me like a $30 gift card to this website called like eMusic or something. And I was like, okay. So like, I had like iTunes set up on my computer and all that stuff, and everything's like, oh yeah, just load money onto your iTunes, or you get an iTunes gift card. And I just get like an eMusic gift card. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just go to this weird website and I put in the card, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna look at some of these bands and get the music. But they didn't have any of the music that I wanted. It had the Vitamin String Quartet covers of all the songs that I wanted, which a lot of it was like 30 Seconds to Mars, and like I think I did like Daughtry and stuff like that too. But like it wasn't their albums, it was the Vitamin String Quartet cover. So I just spent like $30. I think I got like a Dinosaur Jr. record because they had Dinosaur Jr. on that website, and then I spent like the rest of it on just Vitamin String Quartet orchestral covers of like The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars and stuff like that. And I just filled my iPod with that stuff. And
that's a band name I did not expect to hear tonight. Oh yeah, Dinosaur Jr.
Oh yeah, I love them.
I didn't expect that at all.
They're I like that was right around the time they put out that album Farm. That was like 2009 or something. And like,
they go back even further than that.
Oh no, yeah, I know they're from like
they
the
go way
80s and
back.
stuff. But whenever they were like promoting that album on that eMusic site that I was on at the time.
Oh, okay.
I checked that out, and I like them. I haven't really listened to them in depth too much, but the stuff that I have listened to, I think they put out a record recently, and it was pretty cool. I don't know what kind of genre is that even.
They were considered alternative music, like along with The Cure, like back when they first came out, like when the X used to be WXXP, it was double X before it was and it was a really cool alternative station. Actually, they still have a group on Facebook. If you look up WXXP on Facebook, I think they still do live streaming of like all that older music with the old. But you were only really cool if you listened to X, like you were into The Cure and the Smiths, and they would play Dinosaur Jr. and that was a huge jumping off point for me when I actually changed the radio dial from Top 40 B94 and DVE to the X when I actually found I was able to get the X in my bedroom on my shitty little clock radio I was using at the time. I would like turn that on, and that's where all this that was where I heard The Cure for the first time, Depeche Mode, the Smiths, Joy Division, New Order. That was a great radio station. That station I wish was still around. I would still listen to that to this day if I could get it. Even on iHeart, I would plug in my phone if I could get it on iHeart Radio. Oh, when you were talking about New Order.
Yeah.
They were Joy Division, but the reason they changed the band was after the lead singer killed him.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you said he had died. I didn't know if you knew that he had actually committed suicide.
Oh yeah, Ian Curtis. Yeah, I really like Joy Division too.
Yeah, Joy Division was really good. New Order was amazing.
They were considered punk, right? Joy Division.
Not so much. They were like along the line, in my opinion at least. They were along the lines of like the Smiths and the Cure. More I guess there's a record store in Pittsburgh. It would be considered new wave, I guess.
Oh yeah.
If you want to call it new wave music, I guess that was the big term for it at the time. But then again, they consider Duran Duran new wave too. Duran Duran was more of a pop band, not really. They were more pop music in my opinion than wave, but
maybe it's like post-punk or something. I know that's a term that gets thrown around.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yeah, because it would have came after the Sex Pistols, and that'd have been like. Well, see, I guess that's why they call it. It was another reason why they called it new wave, because it was like the second wave of all the Euro bands and the Brit making money.
No, I do like how like after Joy Division they had New Order, and they kind of went in their own route there. It's kind of like Nirvana to like Foo Fighters almost.
Yeah.
And
Definitely a different change. Yeah. Because it was the same style, but it was definitely completely different as far as like the songs and stuff.
Yeah. That's another one too. When it comes to people wearing shirts of bands they've never listened to, I see that the Unknown Pleasures shirt fucking everywhere, and I'm sure no one's ever listened to Joy Division before. They've probably listened to Love Will Tear Us Apart, and that's it. And that's not even on. That's not even on Unknown Pleasures, I don't think. But that.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Unacceptable. Disorder is a amazing track. I think that's the opener of that album too. It's so fucking good. When they did it live. There was like a live album. I think it's on like Spotify. Their live version of Disorder was so good. It it just goes in. I just love the guitar riff in that.
See, that makes my heart feel good to hear you talk about those old bands. Like that makes me feel so good. Makes me feel like music actually did matter.
Yeah, music did matter.
You know what though? 30 Seconds to Mars, I never found them as horrible as everybody says. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta admit, I enjoyed a lot of their music.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed them too.
I
liked
them
their
too.
first two.
I didn't think they were all that bad.
No, they were. I do enjoy them. I really do like them, unironically. But I don't know. Jared Leto is such a meme now, and their new stuff is very poppy, and it's like this whole like arena, like we are the people, we are the like that whole. It's almost like Messiah. Like I don't know how to explain. It's just like the whole. It's like a U2 vibe, kind of that I get from 30 Seconds to Mars and their new stuff. But no, their first two records I really enjoy. The third one, This Is War, that's where it kind of started to lose me, because it just started to get these big choruses of people in like every track, and it's like, okay, cool, that was great for like the first three, but
wasn't This Is War used on a soundtrack for a video game?
It was. I know it was in the trailer for Dragon Age Origins. At least the trailer. I didn't know.
Yeah, I remember it in the trailer. Okay, was it Origins? I couldn't remember. I knew it was used in a video game. I couldn't remember which one though.
Yeah, because that was like 2009, I think, is whenever both of those came out. That album and that game. I never played it, but I do remember watching the trailer. And they had This Is War. I was like, oh hell yeah! Because I was like, whenever I was super into 30 Seconds to Mars, I was like, oh, it's in a video game trailer, mom. I don't know, Brandon. You've been awfully quiet. Any thoughts?
Yeah, sorry, I fell asleep during that whole conversation.
Wow.
No, I mean,
Loser.
Fuck. I don't know. Really, what else I can add in that you guys haven't already said? I mean, I can talk about my answer to the discussion question.
Go ahead, Brandon. Let's hear your.
Well, hey, thanks. I'm glad you asked. So, I'm torn between two genres, and I guess I'm the odd man out in that. I mean, I've made it very clear that I'm a big fan of hip hop and stuff like that. It's definitely one of the genres I listen to the most. But I also am really into
K-pop.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do enjoy it, but no. See, like I'm finding it a hard task to put a genre on it entirely, because like it's not quite prog rock or like prog metal, but like I mean essentially whatever you would consider Coheed and Cambria, Because I mean they kind of do a little of everything from like prog stuff to like more metal to pop punk, and then stuff like that. So I guess I guess they're mostly at their core kind of like prog metal or something like that. But like I'm really into bands like obviously Coheed and Cambria is arguably my favorite band. Them and The Fall of Troy, Circa Survive, the Mars Volta, and At the Drive-In, both are fantastic.
Oh shit, Circa Survive. I didn't think that was going to get brought up.
Protest the Hero.
At the Drive-In, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, At the Drive-In and the Mars Volta are fantastic. And then more recently, actually, I discovered Thank You Scientist, who they're actually signed to Claudio from Coheed's record label. They're really good.
Yeah, you played that one for me. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
did I tell you? Did I tell you how good Coheed and Cambria is live?
Yeah, you've told me a couple times. Thanks. I appreciate it. Jerk.
Dude, epic is not the word for it.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah, I mean, every time you fucking say it, I'm still mad. Oh well, I'm gonna see him eventually. God damn it! But yeah, no, I would say that like because I mean I think we all have a shared kind of history and rock music and stuff like that. But I think that's my little niche that I've carved out. How Dad, you're more punk and metal and stuff like that, and Weaver, you're more emo and stuff like that. So I think I'm more into like the prog stuff. But yeah, again, Coheed and Cambria is like my fucking favorite band. And then
I guess you could consider them progressive. I guess you could consider them prog rock. Like some people might say arena rock because of the big sound. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I think I'd agree with you because they're doing so many different things.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to put them in a box. Which I mean, I think that's part of the appeal for me is just that they do so much different stuff and they do it all so well.
Can't put Claudio in a box. His hair will stick out.
It's too fucking big, yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're fantastic, and I love them. But yeah, I mean, I think otherwise, I am again the odd man out in that I listen to a lot of hip hop music, and I really didn't start until I was in high school. I didn't really start getting into it. I mean, I had listened to different popular stuff that had come out on the radio as growing up, but I think, it was maybe like ninth grade or so. I started looking. I think really the first thing, like the first stuff I really started listening to was like Das Effects. Like whenever Dad, you showed me They Want Effects, or you told me about that song, and when I started looking into them, I think I went from there, to all the class, Tupac, Biggie, Ice Cube, NWA, Public Enemy, et cetera, et cetera. I was very much an old head, as they're called, because I was always like, man, classic hip hop's the best, and there's no new good stuff. It all fucking sucks. I hate it. Because I was an edgy teenager and I was stupid, so I really wasn't much into other stuff until I was introduced to Tyler the Creator by my friend Derek, and I think that he really spoke to the edgy teenage me, because he was not really that much older than me, but talking about like, hey, I'm sad a lot and I'm angry a lot, and I have all these different feelings, and I'm expressing it through my music and shit like that, and that really resonated with me at the time. It's funny because like looking back on that album specifically, Goblin, the first full album by him that I listened to when I got into him. Looking back on that, I can't stand it. Like I actually like really, I think there's maybe like 4 songs max that I would actually actively go back and listen to from that album. Really? Just because like I think it's because of how I've grown as a person, and how he's grown so much as an artist. Like I said with Mac Miller, talking about somebody who has grown as an artist with each album. I think Tyler exemplifies that perfectly. You listen to stuff like Bastard and Goblin, and then you listen to literally anything off Flower Boy, and it's like he's a different artist. You can still tell that it's him, obviously. His voice is so distinct, but also like there's the kind of jazzy undertones that were in Bastard and Goblin, because he does a lot of production for himself, and he writes a lot of his own stuff. He's very talented on the piano and all that. But you could tell there were those, in some of the songs on Goblin and Bastard, there were those jazzy undertones that have more come to the forefront with stuff like Cherry Bomb and Flower Boy. And I think he's to a point now where he's making the stuff that he's kind of always wanted to make, but really never had the resources to. But yeah, I think he's grown as an artist so much. But yeah, he got me to really broaden my horizons into other hip-hop artists and stuff like that, and I think my favorite part of the genre is just how broad it is. We've talked about like gangster rap and stuff like that, that's one piece of it. Then you have the jazzier stuff, the more emotional stuff like Tyler, and then you have, the bling era, the crunk era, you have stuff like fucking Soulja Boy that's just goofy and, fun to make fun of. And then you have like, Snoop Dogg and Tupac, or you have like, actually people like Tupac and Nas that are, trying to get their messages out there, tell stories. It's so, there are so many different ways you can do it. And I've seen and heard from so many different artists that do things differently, all being in the same genre. This is the same genre that has people like Tekashi 6ix9ine, where he just gets on a track and yells. He's just fucking screaming at you the whole time. And then there's like Lil Yachty, who's like, the kind of happy, like, positive, like, hey, I'm just a kid having fun. It's so distinct and so different, but it's, all considered in the same genre. So I think that's what really is interesting to me. And then a lot of like, you get people like MF Doom that have these complex rhyme schemes and their wordplay and stuff like that, like Andre 3000 and Killer Mike and people like that. And then, I mean, shit, you have people like Young Thug that are pushing the genre forward with just completely off the wall shit. I mean, this man made a mainly country inspired album for his last album. You know, it's like you don't hear of other artists doing stuff like that in hip hop that much, and whenever you do see that, it's really cool because it's like, oh shit, like, you know, there's so many different ways you can do it. And even with his voice, you know, people are always like, oh, well, you know, I can't understand him. Like, it's, you just got to listen a little bit. You know, it's more informal. It's a more casual thing. It's like, it's not like he's going out to, you know, he's not taking it as he's actively recording something and he has to enunciate every single word, you know, and really make it so that he's, you know, that you can understand him. But it's more like he's just talking to you, you know, you're sitting there with him, and it's just a casual kind of thing. Like, and they've had actual linguists like break down the way he flows and the way his, you know, lyrics and stuff are. And yeah, I don't know.
Might just be all goofed up on drugs, maybe. That's why.
I mean, that might be part of it. Could be.
I don't know if that's the video you were talking about, but I saw a video, I think it was like on Facebook or something, how Young Thug's like language is sort of like an evolution of like language and the way we speak, and it just made me really mad. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Hey, fuck you. Are you a linguist? I don't think so.
I'm not a linguist, but that's
exactly. So shut up.
I know the idea of language is it's supposed to make communication
it's supposed to be
simpler.
Fluid. I mean,
I don't think he's evolving language. I think he's just a goofy man.
You're very close-minded, I must say.
Does a lot of drugs and makes fun-sounding music. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean,
I don't really call him boundary pushing, but
well, then you just haven't listened enough.
Maybe not.
But yeah, I mean, then you have people like Danny Brown. That, I mean, shit. He his last album, Atrocity Exhibition. It's literally just a look into what it's like to be completely strung out and addicted to drugs and like just so pushed to the, you know, limits of human sanity, and it's just so fucking raw and real. Like it's amazing, honestly. The whole album, and whoever did production for it needs a fucking award because it's so good. But yeah, I mean, it captures that, like, that mania, stuff like that. I don't know. There's a lot I could go on about for fucking hours at a time, but I enjoy hip hop a lot for a lot of different reasons. And again, I think it's because there's there's stuff for every mood. There's stuff that's just fun to bump in the car or at a party, you know, like you got your little pump and shit like that. That's just, it's stupid and it's fun. Like, you're not supposed to interact with it that deeply. But then you do have people like, you know, Nas and Andre 3000 and, you know, people like that, and Kendrick Lamar, that are trying to tell stories and push messages through, and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I looked at my Spotify stats the other day, and it was my top like 4 artists were, I think, Kanye, Young Thug, Tyler, and Lil Wayne. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I like that you went backwards first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like that you went back and listened to the old stuff that I would tell you about. You know what I mean? Like, you saw where it came from. You know what I mean? And how it's evolved. And I think that maybe that gives you a better appreciation for it.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting, too, because you can see, like, the elements of, you know, other stuff in, like, newer rappers. You know, you can see how people are paying homage to older rappers, like, whether it's, you know, interpolating flows or lines from other classic songs, like Danny Brown, like I was just talking about. He actually uses part of Andre 3000's flow from Bombs Over Baghdad in one of his songs. I can't remember which one it is, but it's on that Atrocity Exhibition album. But yeah, he, you know, for a couple lines he uses that flow, and it's like, oh, well, neat. You can see, like, you can link together, like, oh, right. Yeah, that's from that song, you know. And there's a lot of that stuff too. Like, I can't remember what the song was, but 2 Chainz actually has a song where he does that with an older song where he kind of uses the same flow. I mean, obviously different lyrics, but he interpolates that as well, and you can see all the.
See, that's where the disconnect is for me.
Mhm.
Like I didn't follow it farther enough. I didn't go forward enough like you did. You know what I mean? Like I saw where it came from and what it was, and for me that's all hip hop and rap is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like I just like some of this newer stuff. I don't look into it as far as you do. I think what it is, I maybe hear that what's his name screaming on the record, and I'm like, wow, this is what it's become. It's gone from here to this.
Yeah.
And I think I'm like, it just sours me off of everything. I think that's why there's so few new rappers that I like. Like I said, when you turned me on to Tyler, I enjoyed Tyler. I enjoyed Sage Francis. You know, I really enjoyed going to the show. Yeah, I had a really good time when we went to that show. Scroobius Pip, for me, is I just like what I like what he has to say. You know, I like his words. And that was funny because we found him through
Simon Pegg, wasn't it? On Twitter.
Simon Pegg, yeah, Simon Pegg on Twitter posted it, and I saw the video, and I was like, wow, this is really good. So, but yeah, no, I like that. I like the way that you went backwards first, and then saw the progression and kept it. You know, kept going with it to watch it evolve. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, again, like I said, I think the broadness of the genre. I mean, and again, don't get me wrong, there are still plenty of artists that are hot garbage, like Tekashi 6ix9ine, but I mean, you're gonna get that with any genre.
Oh yeah,
you know,
you're gonna get that with anybody.
people just making
what
shit.
music you're listening.
Lil Xan.
Yeah. Oh my God, Russ. Yeah, I don't know what I dislike more, honestly. Like the kind of artists like Lil Xan and Tekashi, where it's just like, I don't know. I mean, well, Tekashi especially, where it's just like, okay, this is just a dude yelling at me, and you know, he's also a piece of shit person. Or the dudes that are all like trying to be, you know, fake intellectual and like kind of like how Hobson became, where he has that line like, "Did the man who invented college go to college?" Like, shut the fuck up. That is so dumb. Like, I don't know what I dislike more, you know. I think maybe the fake, like, the pseudo-intellectual guys that are like, yeah, I'm just trying to make you think, and, you know, my rap isn't for everybody, my lyrics aren't for everybody, I'm on another level, I'm so much smarter than you. Like, you're a fucking idiot, and you're just full of yourself. Like, that's all you...
That sounds like that line from that XTC song, Dear God.
Yeah, right?
You make mankind after we made you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what that reminds me of.
A little bit. But yeah, so that's anyway. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it, and that's why I like it. So I've said my piece. But well, fellas, we are actually approaching the 2-hour mark. Might have to cut this one down a little bit. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good place to wrap it, since we got through our discussion questions and everything and had a good old conversation.
Any closing thoughts, Brandon?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, not really. I mean, that was my closing thought.
What would Oh, go ahead.
Again, no, guys, Zach, you were gonna ask a question. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, maybe if everyone had one artist they could recommend to ourselves and to the audience to check out, what would that be to close out?
There you go. That's a good one.
Well, I guess I'll go then.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh man. Well, mine would be Brand New, because I'm really hooked on them lately. I've been for like a year, so their stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
I am well aware. All right, how about you, Dad? What's your one artist that you would recommend?
I would say. Oh wow, I don't even know what to say. Because there's, like I said, it's so widespread. There's not one thing I'm listening to more than anything else right now. I would say if you're like into real heavy tribal music, look up Alien Weaponry. They are a New Zealand thrash metal band that they're actually part of the Maori Nation, and they have taken a lot of Maori hakas and put metal music to it, and it's absolutely badass. Yeah, I think that would be mine. You know, if you're in the mood for that kind of stuff, yeah, that would be mine.
Cool. Mine's gonna come as a big surprise, I'm sure, but I mean, I tell everybody to give Young Thug a try, and I have not misled anybody so far. Everybody that I've told or showed him to has at least enjoyed it from what they've told me. I mean, they could be lying to me, honestly.
Me Young Thug.
Yeah, I mean, everybody could be lying to me, which is totally possible. But no, I mean, I definitely recommend them to anybody, and I think it's just you gotta. I mean, you can't go into it expecting like, wow, I'm gonna hear these, super deep lyrics and all this, like fucking crazy, all these crazy messages. Like, just have fun, just sit back and chill and just, put on some Young Thug. That's what I do. And I mean, I think that's the whole point of it, just to, have a good time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what music's supposed to be about. You know what? And what it boils down to, it doesn't matter what you like. It doesn't matter what your buddy likes. Just fuck it. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it, man. You know what I mean? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's something out there that puts a smile on your face, then run with it. I think that should be like that should be what it's about. Who? I mean, there's people that like that 6'9" dude with the tattoos and just
fucking
Skittles
idiots
for teeth. See?
No, that's one that I will judge you for enjoying him. I will not hold back with that. Him.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll agree with you on that one.
Him.
You don't like pee or poo poo or wee wee or
yeah, all of his literally all of his songs have fucking baby names. Like Kiki, Dewey, Mookie. I'm literally looking at his fucking album on Spotify now. Rondo, Gummo, Dewey, like, yeah, Fifi, like they're all fucking baby names. Anyway, yeah, if you like 6ix9ine, go fuck yourself. That's a hill I will definitely die on. Also, if you enjoy Hobson, just stop. You're not smart. You're not as smart as you think you are. Weaver, I know
it doesn't matter what you like or dislike. Music is just a wide range of things, and it's okay to have you can listen to whatever you want, just as long as it isn't Imagine Dragons.
I knew it. I was just gonna say something. Yeah, no, Imagine Dragons and new Fall Out Boy can also go fuck themselves.
Yeah, wow. They can die wearing like their Hanes black t-shirts and all those bands. They always do that thing. You always go to their Spotify page and like or their music videos, and it's always like all bands in that vein. They do that thing where it's like they get the colored powder, like the paint powder, and you know what I'm talking about? It's like they always do that with visuals and stuff. Like if you go on Fall Out Boy's Spotify page right now, like their banner picture is like with purple smoke and stuff like that. Why do all stupid bands do that? Where they do like the paint, like the powdered paint and that stuff? It's just okay. This is a tangent. We don't have to get on at the end.
It's for the same reason that all local bands either have their pictures taken in front of a brick wall or on a an abandoned railroad track.
Yes, it's that specific thing that makes me mad, but it's hard to explain. But it's just like, okay, never mind. Fuck Imagine Dragons. Fuck Russ. Fuck Takashi. I'll listen to Radiohead.
Okay.
See you later.
There we go. That's all you need. See you next week, everybody.
Thanks.